Well, I'm about to embark on a fun pursuit. So, as I said in a video, I finished building the first version of my Z80 board. And so I started thinking about, well, what can I use that board for? What will be the first project? And I decided to write a modern version of a text screen based video game that I wrote when I was in high school in about 1975 or 1976. I won a programming contest for writing this video game. Anyways, I decided I still want to write it in BASIC, so I need BASIC for my Z80. And I looked around and I see that you can get open source versions of Tiny Basic or other small basics, but that would be a question of, well, Tiny Basic isn't very full featured, and I was using Wang Basic at the time, and that was very full featured. So I'm used to full basic. And I didn't feel like porting another open source project at the moment. So I said, wait a minute, why don't I look at, since this is an ideal machine for retro computing and vintage computing, why don't I look around for a vintage version of BASIC? I went on eBay and I came across this. This is a vintage 1976 original copy of MIT's Altair 8K BASIC, written by the newly formed Microsoft company. And this has historical significance. And they were asking a couple $100 for it, but they were taking offers, and I offered less and I got it. And now, to me, that's exciting. This tape, it's a gamble. This tape may not play at all. It may be demagnetized. It may be too brittle to play. Everything can go wrong with that tape, but I am hoping I have a shot that I can get one pass through the tape where I can copy it with a cassette deck that I still have into my digital recorder. Once I have a digital copy of it, I'm golden. I'll be able to do all kinds of processing on it to improve it if I need to improve the signal. And I can even do the demodulating and conversion to a binary file in software. I considered briefly building a cassette tape interface. I don't know, maybe you've seen in another video that I put up, I bought a stack of Byte magazines. Well, in one issue of Byte magazine is a construction article for a cassette tape interface. So, I don't know, I didn't feel like building a cassette tape interface, but it might actually be easier to build a vintage cassette tape interface that I can plug my digital recorder player into than write software with probably an FFT and some digital audio processing to try to do a software solution on that tape. Now, this is for an 8080, but the Z80 is almost exactly an 8080 plus. It has one variation in one of the flags for one instruction where it is not adhering to an 8080 standard. But basically, back in the day, when I had a Z80, I used all 8080 software for it because no one had a Z80 assembler at that point. I had 8080 assembler. So once I get it in binary format, I will have to see about finding any kind of documentation about how do you load and run that version of 8K BASIC. So this is exciting. It's a new project. It's retro computing, and that's what these Z80s seem to be for people like me. That's it.